Stocks our strategists feel are poised to deliver positive returns are featured now in their top stock picks of the week.
We're going to tell you a little bit about a couple of top performing stocks this time around, including one company who made some big news here a few days ago. Ryan McQueenie, Kevin Cook joins us to fill us in on these two stock picks for this week. Ryan, we'll start with you. You've got the CME Group, which is no stranger to us.
Yeah, it's based right here in beautiful Chicago, Illinois. CME Group is the largest futures exchange in the world, and as you'd expect from that, this is a company whose most of their revenue is coming from clearing and transaction fees. We'll get to that more later on, but been in the news lately because of a new futures product that they launched.
Yeah.
However, the outlook looking strong here because this is a company that's really going to benefit from a rising rate environment, which we expect to see now even more in the coming years. Going to start with some basics. Absolutely gorgeous revenue chart over the past 5 years. Doesn't matter what kind of investor you are, you like to see this type of upward slant. Moving to the price consensus and EPS surprise chart. Only one miss in the last 3.5 years, and shares have been on a strong upward run for the better part of 2 years now. But this stock is a Zacks ranked #1 strong buy right now. So we're gonna look at the latest earnings estimate revisions as well.
Okay.
Current quarter, not necessarily what we like to see, and that's having an effect on full year estimates as well. But analysts clearly warming up to this in the next fiscal year. And again, as I mentioned, that outlook really has to do with a rising rate environment is going to, hopefully for them, increase overall transaction fee revenue. You're going to see some headlines here as CME Group just was one of 2 companies to launch Bitcoin futures. So people are going to be focusing on that as this crypto space continues to go crazy. But so far, we're not seeing crazy volume there. So just in a rising rate environment, or even just a volatile rate environment, they're going to see higher demand overall.
All right. They've had some overall solid volume on that exchange in the past year. So that goes along with them being the largest futures exchange.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Cook, sir, your company is the one that made headlines at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and we knew that the CEO, Jensen Huang, was going to open Sunday night and talk about AI and autonomous driving.
We're talking about NVIDIA, by the way.
Yeah, NVIDIA. So we got that and more. I'll get to some of that in a minute, but they also announced a new big screen, 4K for gamers, which I think blew everybody away. And I read one tech blog this morning, Engadget said this could totally usurp Apple's plans to have a big TV like that, because NVIDIA is going to embed it with their smart technology. So, I have to admit, I was late to the NVIDIA story in 2016. I didn't really become an investor until 2017, but I've been pounding the table on it at $100, at $140, and still, because I say you can pay between 40 and 50 times for this stock for the long term. Now, how can that be when Intel trades at 14 times forward? Why should we pay 3 or 4 times more for NVIDIA? A lot of reasons. I got 3 big ones for you. First is the growth is unseen. When you look at forward revenue projections, and let's go to my screen here. So I've got the detailed estimates page up here. You can see for sales estimates, yeah, they grew revenue to $9.5 billion, 37% this year, but then that slows down to 16%, only getting to $11 billion next year. You think, oh, well, why should, where's that growth that we're supposed to be paying 45, 50 times for? Because the analysts cannot keep up with the different industries that NVIDIA is exploding in, okay? By itself, I could say that AI is actually a new industry, right? And it's creating multiple new industries. So you look at gaming is still half their revenues, but in the cloud and data center space, where they sell to Google, Amazon, Baidu, anybody that, or a university doing scientific research that wants to access their data center and calculate trillions of calculations per second, they're growing. That's 25% of their revenues as a segment, but they're growing that area at over 50% a year. So that's why you can see this area go from, say, $1 billion segment to a $7 to $10 billion segment in 5 years. So that's the kind of growth that's still unseen, and analysts can't really project where it's going. I say you look at 5 growing industries for them, all wrapped around their GPU chips. And that's really the point I should make about why you call AI a new industry. It's because they took the graphical processing unit, that chip for games, and learned how to use it in parallel processing for data and information. And it's what gives you autonomous cars. Now, you mentioned their big announcement there. So they already have partnerships with Baidu. They just expanded that. They just expanded something with a new platform with a company called Aurora, which I don't really know much about Aurora. They're a private company specializing in AI platforms for autonomous driving. So they keep growing that area. That area has only been 10% of their revenues. That is also a 50, 60, 70% grower. So you see when you look down in these segments how fast they're growing. So that's why I say if I just picked 5 industries that are growing within NVIDIA's business segments, that gets me to $5. So 5 for 5. $5 EPS this year, which is above consensus. And I think the analysts are going to catch up. Especially I think you're going to see estimates go up this week after some of the surprises they just gave us. The third thing to look at, so I talked about growth that's unseen, then this is a totally new industry. The third thing is their development platform. It's called CUDA, which stands for Compute Unified Device Architecture. And the two things that stand out there, when they talked about AI and autonomous vehicles on Sunday, they mentioned they have 320 partners. What this tells you is that everybody wants to work with NVIDIA. They either want the chips, they want the development platform. So you got everybody from major corporations to startups. The second thing is that NVIDIA trains the developers. They announced it last May that they would train 100,000 developers in a matter of a couple of years to program on their CUDA platform. So what does that do? That makes everybody your customer, right? And that's exactly what's happening. So we talked about autos. We talked about, we could talk about robotics, but one area that I would just call idiosyncratic, which is the word from the Goldman Sachs chip analyst, he said he sees chips reaching sort of full valuation. A lot of chip stocks reaching full valuation, except he likes Xilinx and NVIDIA. And even though NVIDIA is trading at 50 times, right? Why? Because they have idiosyncratic growth, what I'm talking about here. It's a new industry. So even you're going to get growth from cryptocurrencies. You're going to get growth from, any cybersecurity, because the cybersecurity business is changing, right? We can't keep up with the hackers, so it's going to take AI to figure it out to beat the hacker. So this is why I said NVIDIA is going to 240 this year. I said that 6 months ago. It could probably go to 275, based on this kind of momentum. And if these estimates, if the consensus goes up to $5 for this year, I bet you NVIDIA goes above 250. So that's why you still can pay, anywhere between 40 and 50 times. 40 times means you buy it at $200. 50 times means you can pay up to 250.
What I love about it too is all those exciting new growth industries that you highlighted. Plus, you led by that really cool announcement that they had that's geared towards the gamer, which is their traditional kind of core demographic. So they haven't forgotten about what got them here, and then they have all those exciting.
And that's a $100 billion industry. Yeah. Oh, we forgot Uber. Uber has selected them for the AI platform for autonomous driving.
Right.
Which is kind of the hint. Uber's not really going to have a driver problem anymore.
Right.
They're not going to have people. It's going to be, you're going to call your Uber robot to drive you somewhere.
So the Sunday that you mentioned is January the 7th, in case people want to peg it to the calendar. Suffice to say that NVIDIA taking diversification to a new level.
Absolutely. One more point. This system on a chip, which is what a company like Mobileye built for autonomous driving, NVIDIA builds, they call it Xavier. It can do 30 trillion calculations per second, but it can do it on 30 watts. So it's, this is how you can make this work in a car, is massive parallel processing with no energy drain.
Yeah, and you own it.
Yes.
All right.
We'll own it forever.
Ryan, how about you? Own either of these? All right, thanks for that. Don't forget, more stock information always available on our website, Zacks.com. Get over to the homepage and check it all out. With Ryan and Kevin, I'm Terry Ruffalo.